with me.
Happy New Year and welcome back to another episode of Rocks with me. I'm your girl Roxy here with you after Mercury retrograde has passed. It's January 2nd. I have to note it's been officially a month since your girls became a full ass wife. So congrats to me, right? Now, I don't know if you caught it, but I did say at the end of a Mercury retrograde. And for those of you who don't really follow like astrology all that well and stuff, what is a Mercury retrograde, you ask? So basically, it's an optical illusion where it looks like the planet is moving backwards from the view of Earth, even though it doesn't really change its direction. Because of this optical illusion, there's astrologers that believe that during this period in time where Mercury is in retrograde, there's issues with technology coming across, issues with communication could get disrupted. Like it's the time where your exes slide back into your DMs and raise from the dead all of a sudden. So a lot of issues during that time, you'll hear people blame Mercury retrograde. We just ended one on January 1st, 2024. And now we're clear in our forecast with a great way to record an episode. So here we are, January 2nd. And this episode is set to release tomorrow, January 3rd, 2024, on a Wednesday to keep that Wednesday hump day kind of like tradition going on when I release episodes, trying to get you through the middle of the week with a new episode of Rocks with me. Now, I had to do it right and get my messy bun on so that way it matches my messy bun on my podcast cover. But I also wanted to give a little heads up on what's been going on come the new year, even though we're only on day 2. For Christmas, we got 4 turtles. It was my husband's idea. But for the boys, it's 4 turtles as their Christmas gifts. And so my turtle, I swear something's wrong with that turtle, like to the point where I'm calling it Dopey, like the dwarf from Snow White, the one that wears light green, which is the same color as his shell, and who's like kind of like dopey. Like, how else can you explain it? Well, literally, my turtle is the dopiest of all 4 turtles because legit, we saved that little guy's life already, like probably like 4 times. So in the turtle tank, there's a water filter, 2 water filters actually. And it basically like obviously it filters out the water and then it creates like this waterfall of where the clean water is coming back into the tank, right? So because these turtles like they breathe oxygen and then go underwater and can stay underwater for like 45 minutes to an hour, then they go back up for air and stuff like that. We have like these rocks around as well so they could like bask under the light and get some like vitamin D or whatever they do. And then the water is very shallow so that they have room to swim and stuff because these turtles are probably like an inch, if that, maybe like 2 inches, if that. And so my turtle was swimming around where the waterfall hits the shallow water and it creates this like whirlpool sort of say, and like the pressure of the water underwater, you could see it. And literally, my turtle got stuck under that freaking water pressure like twice already. Like, no lie. Like, you see it spinning and then it's getting caught in the whirlpool thingy that it creates, like this circle tornado underwater it creates, and it gets stuck and the water pressure is like right on top of the shell and it can't move from underneath it and it just like sits there forever. And at first we thought, oh, it should be able to take. No, it can't take itself out. So we literally have to go in there, take it out from under there, and it doesn't learn its lesson. It's done that like what, twice already. Aside from that, it also got caught under 2 rocks that were like 5 times its size. How it got under there, I have no idea, but it literally got stuck under there because you could see its little like turtle claws trying to like swim its way out, and obviously it couldn't. So we had to save it from that too. And now I've noticed that it'll get on top, like outside of the shallow water and on top of the rock to like sunbathe, quote unquote, under the like UV light we have facing part of it. And it'll be relaxing, chilling like nothing. And then once we walk in the room, or at least once I walk in the room, it like does a double take. It'll like look at me and then like dive into the water and try to hide behind the water filter underneath the rock or something. Like it's a freaking afraid of me. Like, bro, I saved your life like how many times already and you still don't trust me? Even the husband was like, you have this luck with the pets you choose, because we have Simba, who's a boxer pit that I had chose to gift my youngest for his birthday 2 years ago. And we named him Simba because our other boxer is named Nala. So we could have like the pair. And I swear, Simba is like too smart and sometimes too dumb for his own good. Like he swears he's a cat. Like sometimes he'll jump on like the top of the couch frame and like walk on the couch frame. At least before with our old couches. With these new couches, we have a rule the dogs cannot come on them to kind of make them to kind of preserve the couch life a little bit longer, you know? But yeah, he's something else. And the way my house is set up is you could walk from the living room into the kitchen, into the hallway, and the hallway can enter back into the living room. So there's like a circle path, I guess you could call it. I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, he'll see us go into the kitchen. If he's in the living room with us and he sees one of us get up from the living room to go to the kitchen and he sees us going to the kitchen, and then we happen to go into one of the bedrooms and come back to the living room from the hallway, he'll start barking at us like we're a freaking burglar that just broke in. Like he doesn't, and we got to tell him like, bro, it's just us. Like, how stupid can you be? You literally just saw us walk out of the room. But that's Simba. And I guess that's my luck with pets, because now with Dopey over here, you know, I've read where like it takes about 2 weeks for the turtle to recognize it's human. I don't know how true that is, but it was on Google, so it has to be true, right? And it's been 2 weeks, and I'll take it out of its turtle tank, like pet it, its shell, because I heard it does have like some nerves on its shell and stuff that it could have feeling there. And so it could see me and stuff, and it still doesn't freaking trust me. Like, bro, like, saved your life already several times. Like, be my friend now. I feed you. Anyways, that's biggest news aside from getting married, which again, I still have to release the episode explaining how the wedding day went. And I can't wait to do that. And I can't wait for you guys to listen to that. Hopefully it's next week's episode, but we'll see. So with the new year, we all know new year comes, you know, new year, new me, new resolutions, new goals, new chapter, new start, brand new, fresh new type of like start. Like you're ready. Like it, I think I mentioned on my Instagram story, like at the end of the year, since we're only human, we tend to always reflect on how the year's gone, right? So I think as humans at the beginning of the year, we always have this glimpse of hope, like, okay, this is the year I'm gonna start something. This is the year I'm gonna do this resolution. This is the year I'm gonna hit this goal. You know, we're cleaning the slate and starting fresh. As long as we don't hold on to anything from the past year, I think we're good to step into new waters in the new year. So I decided to come on so soon because originally my plan wasn't to release an episode until 2 weeks into the new year. That way I could get some episodes recorded with some guests and stuff and get some content out. But I got inspired to do this because I honestly really want to focus myself this year on running again, basically feeling good on the inside so I could feel better on the outside and look better on the outside. And a bunch of it has to do with self-care, and a bunch of it has to do with mental determination. And I wanted to see what other people thought, like what other people's goals and where the mindsets were and where their resolutions for 2024 were. So I posted on my Instagram story. My Instagram handle is Roxx with Me Podcast. I posted on the story a question on what is everybody's 2024 resolutions and goals. And I blame the holiday because I did post it on, I think I posted it on the 1st. So on New Year's Day, where it's like people are still on holidays and stuff. So I blame that on like not really getting a lot of answers back like I normally do. But I did get one answer, which was their 2024 resolution / goal is to create a morning / evening routine upgrade, more self-love, and try new fruits and vegetables. And it's funny because I had this episode planned and that's why I posted that question. But that answer itself, like this episode, girl, it's for you. And that's Dixie_Lee 83 that answered that from Instagram. So shout out to you for being one of my 15 Spotify listeners. Cause yes, I bumped it up from 14 to 15 in a week. Thank you for rocking with me. And this episode I'm dedicating to you because it honestly, I'm going to explain like something that's been brewing in my head that I'm really going to put out there on my podcast page story. And hopefully some of you guys join with me. So in 2019, this guy named Andy Frisella, who has a couple podcasts. One of his podcasts is the Real AF podcast, which AF we could assume is as fuck, real as fuck podcast. And he also previously had a podcast that ran from, I believe, up until 2019 that was called the MFCEO, which stood for the motherfucking CEO. And it was a business podcast, which topped the charts, right? This guy, I admire the realness in him. How blunt he is. I may not be on the same side in all his thoughts and ideas and such, but the majority, I can see where he's coming from and I can agree on some points he's made. So shout out to him. If you want to learn more, he does have a website, andyfrisella.com. So back in 2019, he ended up creating what's called the 75 Hard program. You may have heard of it on social media called the 75 Hard Challenge, but I don't think he calls it a challenge because it's more of a program than a challenge. And basically, what it is, it's all about like having that mental determination and mental toughness to complete the 75 Hard program, where there's 5 rules that you must follow during this program. The first one is to follow a diet. And he states the diet could be of your choice, but it has to be a very strict diet that you do follow for the 75 days. The second is that you must complete 2 45-minute workouts. One of those 45-minute workouts needs to be completed outdoors. The third is that you have to take a progress picture of yourself for every day. Fourth is you need to drink 1 gallon of water a day. And the fifth thing is that you need to read 10 pages of a book. Audiobooks do not count towards this. And it has to be from a book that's a self-improvement book, non-fictional self-improvement book. So these sound like very, very strict rules. And there's apps during the 75 days that you're completing the 75 Hard program. There's absolutely zero compromise. Like you can't substitute one thing for another. There's no alcohol or cheat days or rest days or cheat meals. He has an episode out where he explains why he created the program with those 5 rules, right? If you guys want to go to his website or go to his podcast, The Real AF, it's episode 208, where he summarizes it. He summarizes what the 75 Hard program is. So I saw that and very intimidated. 45 minutes is 45 minutes, but taking 2 45-minute periods out of your day, that's an hour and a half, which I work from 4:30 in the morning till 2 o'clock. Then I cook dinner, which takes an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. So we'll say like 3:30 I finish cooking dinner. Then at that time, when the kids are in school, which they're going to be starting school this week, I go do my pickups. By the time I get home, 5 something. That leaves me like 4 hours. I still have to feed the kids. I still have to clean up around here. I hardly have time to read books, which I picked up last year. And I was so proud of myself for completing 17 books in 2023, which I'm saving for an episode itself on what books I read and what I thought of them. So look out for that. And sometimes I just like to just chill out and watch some TV at the end of some days. Sometimes I go do laundry. Sometimes I deep clean the kitchen. Sometimes I deep clean the living room. Sometimes there's things that come up where I got to go somewhere. The kids have practice, the kids have games, basketball games, practices and stuff. And the way I see it is when I can no longer compromise that time and say, you know what, I'm not taking you to practice today, or I'm not taking you to your after school activity today. I can't find myself to do that to my kids because growing up, I played every sport possible that was available to me. My parents had me in karate. My parents had me in soccer. My parents had me for like a month or 2 in cheer, but I don't think I liked it very well. So I switched. I think that was prior to them putting me in karate, which I absolutely loved. Volleyball. I played volleyball. I've played softball, soccer, I think I mentioned, basketball. So there were practices and games like nonstop. Outside of that, in middle school, from playing sports, I was still in band. So band had after school rehearsal sometimes. Band had Christmas programs and performances throughout the year, field trips to Knott's where we would perform for UIL and stuff. And thinking back on all those activities I was able to do, There was not one time where my parents couldn't take me or anything. They let me try out all the sports to find my kind of like calling, quote unquote, which in high school I stuck to just basketball. And I want to give that same opportunity to my kids. I want my boys to be able to try out for basketball, try soccer if they want to, whatever sport they want. They've already been in football, they've already been in basketball. My oldest, he's in mariachi and he's in band. So he literally to school and home, he takes two instruments a day, the trombone and the freaking guitar every single day. And then on top of that, he's going to try out for basketball for this upcoming semester. And then he just made the drumline team. So it's so many things on his plate. And the way he's successful on them is because of the support he has from me and my husband and his grandparents, who my mom, I'll reach out if I'm stuck at work and he needs to get dropped off somewhere or whatever. And if she has time, she'll do it. You know, it takes a village. It literally takes a village. So with that being said, I don't want to sacrifice. I mean, I'm already sacrificing some time for this podcast, right? I don't want to sacrifice even more time, discipline to complete something as hard as that 75 hard program is. So then I kept looking at other things that were out there, other trends, you know. Someone on TikTok created the 75 soft program, or he calls it challenge, where it kind of molds the program, which is something I'll admit Andy, who created the 75 hard program, says in his podcast, that's not what this program is for. But the 75 soft program, I feel like was more attainable with my lifestyle. Instead of going and following a very strict diet, you eat well in general and avoid alcohol except for special occasions. And then the next one is, instead of exercising twice a day for 45 minutes, you exercise just once a day for 45 minutes. And you could have a rest day, because sometimes these bones and this body just screams it needs a rest day to recoup. Even when I was training for a marathon, there were rest days that were required for me to be able to let my body, recover from the long runs. The next is, instead of a gallon a day, only drinking 3 liters of water a day, which is like 12, 13 cups a day. And then it still has to read 10 pages a day, but of any book. Read 10 pages of any book a day. Now, I didn't mention, but in the 75 hard program, if you drink, 3 ounces less than a gallon of water, you're going to have to start over on day 1. If you read 9 pages instead of 10 of a non-fictional self-improvement book, you're going to have to start all over at day 1. If you exercise for 42 minutes instead of the 45 minutes, you get penalized and you got to start all the way in day 1. In the 75 soft challenge, it ends up not penalizing you and making you start all the way over at day 1. It's just you take accountability on what made you miss out on hitting that one goal of the day, and you make improvements for the following days. And in the 75 soft program, you don't have to take a progress picture once a day, which the 75 hard program, you do have to take a picture once a day, every day for the 75 days. And if you miss a day of taking a progress picture, you got to start at day 1 again. And to some, that could be damaging because of the already delicate self-image we have. Sometimes I feel like this, where people give me a compliment and say, oh my God, you lost weight, but I don't see it, because in my head, being fit may be different perception than what a person that was complimenting me sees as being fit, if that makes sense. So taking a picture a day can be damaging to some who are insecure, who have trouble building that self-confidence. So with the 75 soft that was created, you don't have to take a progress picture each day. But with any diets, any programs, any exercise, anything that you're starting off, it is important to consult a physician. Now, after reviewing these two, the 75 hard versus the 75 soft, and then there's people out there that are doing the 35 soft, where they do 30-minute exercise a day, read 10 pages of any book, eat healthy, drink some water. I thought, all this is habit building. Having to do these in consecutive number of days is building a new habit, changing an old habit, doing something for the better, right? So then I started looking up, like, how long does it take to create a new habit? And there's myths, there's people out there that say, oh, 21 days to build a habit. But scientifically speaking, there's published articles in psych journals and health journals out there where it's been studied that in order to create a habit, it could take from 18 to 254 days for a person to form a new habit. And it varies on the person's mindset, it varies on the person themselves and stuff. But on average, it takes 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic, kind of like washing your hands after you use the restroom. Although there's some foochy people out there that only don't even automatically do that after getting out of the restroom. But you know, it's like muscle memory. Like when you're logging into a computer at work, like it's muscle memory, the keys that you're typing, you know, your password. Sometimes you don't realize, okay, what's my password? Because it's just muscle memory. Same with like unlocking a phone, like the passcode or putting in your security, like debit card pin and stuff. It's more muscle memory than it is thinking, okay, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, you know? P.S. If that's your pin, you got to change it because that's super easy. With that being said, I figured, you know what? Let me create like a tracker. Let me put a little bit of goals there, put the days of the week, and put it out there with you guys because it's something I really do mentally. I want to complete. I want to be mentally disciplined to complete this. But I figured, why not bring you guys along in this journey? So on January 7th, which is this upcoming Sunday, I figured I'll start that Sunday. And so on my tracker, it'll have the dates that we're doing. Then it'll have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like columns for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The first row under the days of the week will have what number day we're on. So next week it'll be day 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Then listed down the left of this tracker, I put some goals and with a space for fill in. So I put water intake, left it blank for you guys to fill in how much water your goal, like what goal it is for you to drink how much water a day, whether it's 2 cups, 3 cups, a gallon, whatever, you could fill it in. Then a workout goal, put how many minutes you want to complete a day, whether you want to start soft, do 20-minute, a walk a day, whatever it is, 30 minutes. Then a reading goal, how many pages you want to read. Then a sleep goal, because beauty sleep is everything. If you want to sleep 6 hours a night, 7 hours a night, keep track, put your goal right there. Then the last little goal for this tracker, I left it blank for up to you guys to put. So in that one, you could put healthy eating. If you're going to follow a strict diet, you could put what diet you're going to follow and mark the days that you completed it. If you want to try new fruits and vegetables, put try new fruit and vegetable and mark off each day you've tried a fruit and vegetable. If like, if you want to do self-care, how many minutes you're going to dedicate to yourself every day. And that last one, each week, I'll release this tracker with all the first goals that I mentioned. And then the last one's, blank for you guys to fill in a goal. And each week you guys could switch that extra goal in or keep it the same. This is up to you, right? Now, being me, on the bottom of this tracker, I left some room. I put a box there for you to put in what you're grateful for the week. So these boxes at the bottom can be completed before the week starts, in the middle of the week, or after the week ends as a reflection for the week you've done. So the first box, like I mentioned, is what you're grateful for. The next box underneath is the song of the week. Me, I have my playlist, Roxx with Me, the playlist on Spotify, where I add songs every week, and I add songs that the guests suggest every week or whenever they're on. And you guys could like listen to all those songs on that playlist, and it's available on Spotify. The playlist cover is the same cover as my podcast cover. So I figured, why not add a song of the week? What song gets you pumped up for the week? Then to the right of that, I left a space for a quote of the week. If you guys follow me on Instagram, at least once a week, I try to put out a Bible verse out there. I think my first or second post was a quote by Maya Angelou, where change is beautiful, for without change, there would be no butterflies, which is one of my favorite quotes. So, what quote is it? Or even if it's something you said or something you heard, write it in there to look at for the week. So, the way I'll do this is I'll set up the dates, what date range we're in for the week, and then I'll put the blank slate there for you guys to fill in for the how much water intake, your workout goal, your reading goal, your sleep goal, and then the last fill in the blank goal, and then the three options at the bottom for the I am grateful, song of the week, and quote of the week. So I'll post that every week, a blank one. I'll even add a highlight on my Instagram page where it'll show the story of this little habit tracker there, right? And then I'll also post on my story how I filled it in for myself for the week. So this upcoming week, I want to try doing a prayer meditation once a day because I fell off it last year. I'm blaming the wedding planning. And today I started up again on listening to Father Mike's podcast, Bible in a Year. I listened to day 1 and day 2 since I missed out yesterday. And so my goal is to listen to his Bible in a Year podcast every day, because he does release the episode every day where he reads 1 or 2 scriptures from the Bible and gives his insight and reflects on them. So I do want to kind of get back on track on doing that because I did complete that in 2022. I listened to the Bible of the Year podcast in the whole year. And if you do listen to that podcast every day, the new episode every day that's released within 375, what the fuck? Within 365 days of the year, if you listen to it every day, you would have heard the entire Bible read to you. Why? Because he picks out the scriptures and he doesn't repeat scriptures, and he puts it to a point where by the end of the year, you would have heard him read the entire Bible, not in order. He picks and chooses. Like today was the book of Genesis, chapters 3 and 4, and Song of Solomon, I think. If you guys want to join me in that, he's available on Apple Podcasts, and I'm sure he's available on Spotify. So that's going to be my goal for next week. Now, back to the habit making. Like I mentioned, the average is 66 days. If we try together to complete this, to try to build this habit tracker and try to do this for ourselves, and we do it for 66 days, we'd be looking at completing it in March 13th. So, how many of you listening would love to join me on this? And for those that do not have Instagram and want a blank tracker, email me at roxxwithme@gmail.com, which is Roxx, ROXX, with me at gmail.com, and say, hey, I don't have Instagram. I listen to your podcast. Shoot me the tracker, whatever it is, and I'll email you a tracker every week. We're definitely going to challenge ourselves this year, whoever's down with it, me and rocking with me. So that's it for this episode. We'll battle the bumps on the road together with this challenge, with this habit tracker as it comes along. But be on the lookout. Once this episode releases, I'll also be uploading a blank sheet for next week so you guys can start thinking about what your last goal is. This is something I've created for myself and want you guys to come along in the journey. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's build up our mental toughness and discipline together. Again, this is totally up to you if you want to join me or not. If you don't and you just want to be hip to the good stuff, then next week will be a new episode. Hopefully you guys will rock with me then. But again, I want to shout out my 15 amazing Spotify followers. Thank you so much. And I also want to say and give you a reminder that you are remarkable. You are resilient. And if you haven't heard it this year, I'm telling you now, I am proud of you. Thank you for rocking with me. Until next time, bye.